I am excited about my choice. I'm going to do the introduction. I know it sounds like I'm skipping over the introduction, but I'm going to do it. But I wanted to have a little lead in. I am so excited about my choice. It is unprecedented.
Oh, okay.
But to those of us who are not us two, welcome to Your Inner Child is an Idiot, the podcast where we look back on things from our childhood and decide if it was any good to begin with. I'm Damon.
I'm DJ. I'm excited to break precedent.
Oh, yeah. I love shattering norms.
We're like an activist judge on the bench over here.
Oh, yeah. 50 years of precedent? Get fucked. DJ.
Yeah.
In your recollection of our podcast, which has been going on since the Carter administration, the technology finally caught up with us. Have we ever done a game show?
Oh, I don't think so.
Have we ever done a game show from public television? By definition, we wouldn't have, because we've never done a game show.
Yeah. It seems like a really bad idea for this show. So no, we haven't.
Have we ever done a game show on PBS with an a cappella theme song that worms into your ear like those things from The Wrath of Khan?
Obviously, we're doing Wheel of Fortune. I'm so excited.
The original was just the audience screaming, Wheel of Fortune. No music, counts as a cappella.
Where in the world is Pat Sajak? That's what it was.
Retired.
R.I.P. Nope, not yet.
Good riddance.
See you later, Republican. So we have Big Red Hat hiding somewhere. Hit it Rockapella. We're talking about...
It's Take It Rockapella, but yeah.
Oh, is it really?
I think it might be Take It Rockapella.
Oh, shit. I've been saying that wrong.
Is there a difference between Hit It Rockapella? There's nothing to hit. They don't have a drum.
No,
that's why they can't hit it.
I didn't, it has the same effect, but I've been saying it wrong my entire life. Here's the honest truth.
And
we're talking about
to talk to you. That's actually, I don't actually want to record an episode on this. I just wanted to talk
this
to you
was a
this.
roundabout way to fix this problem.
All your friends are here. Come in. You all prepared speeches. Read from the paper. Read from the paper. Don't try and wing it. Read from the paper.
I will go to saying Hit It Rockapella Rehab.
It's a small facility.
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
That's correct.
So
all that was correct.
Here is an issue that we're going to run into with this part of the show.
Yeah.
I don't know that I ever actually watched this program.
Interessante.
Yeah. I knew it existed. I knew, and I could have sang the song.
Yeah.
And obviously Rockapella is a huge musical influence on me.
To this very day.
And
you love wearing short brim fedoras like Rockapella. And you hate instruments.
It's why I wanted to be a contrabass.
Yes. I definitely know what that is, and that's why I'm riffing off of it still.
I half know what it is.
It's like a bass that's real high. Is that why it's Contra? Oh no, it's 2-player shooter.
Yeah.
And that's why it's contrabass.
It's a bass that was a paramilitary group that was hired by the government, but through shady means.
And it's kind of a ripoff of Alien, but you don't want to talk about it because the game's so fun.
I'm talking about the Iran Contra affair, and you're talking about the game Contra.
We actually switched roles just then. Shouldn't I be talking about Iran Contra and you be talking about Contra the game?
I was getting wildly out of my depth very quickly, so yeah.
I do not recall Reagan, which is what he would have said about Contra as well. The game.
That was such a good Reagan, by the way.
I know.
Can we just stop the show for a second?
It's great. I loved this show. Now, this might surprise you, but I love geography. I like knowing where things are and being able to tell others that I know where those things are. It also was, I feel like, PBS was kind of known in my head as a kids program because I didn't watch Nova. So I would watch Sesame Street when I was a kid, and then I dropped off of PBS. And then this was a teen focus show when I was probably right around the age that the contestants are, which I think are tweens and early teens. It also introduced me to Tony Award winning actress Lynn Thigpen. Peace and blessings be upon her. R.I.P.
I don't know who that is.
She plays the chief. She also played the evil PTA member in the movie Lean on Me, which is controversial for a slew of reasons. But I remember watching Lean on Me and being like, the chief. And then people told me to stop screaming that every time she was on screen. She's more than just that show.
They're like, we have 89 minutes of this movie left. You got to chill out with that.
And she's in a lot of the scenes. Not a whole lot, but still.
There's that thing in the third act where she comes back and it's really important and we can't have you singing. Oh, I'll also stop song.
Don't say the chief. She's having a dramatic moment where she's glaring at Morgan Freeman silently. Also, this is unrelated. You can cut this out as well, editor. But I was watching, someone had, they released the Lord of the Rings into theaters last weekend. And someone had filmed in the theater during Two Towers. And it's the scene where Aragorn kicks the helmet. And then they turn their phone to the guy next to them. And he just goes as loud as possible, "Did you know?" And the whole theater started laughing. I was very charmed.
I like when behind the scenes factoids become lore, part of the lore.
It's just fun.
Was Carmen Sandiego the character? Was she like live action or was she a cartoon? Was she only a cartoon?
All the villains were cartoons, almost like Flash-based cartoons. I just watched, I sort of skimmed through an episode just to see what was on offer on YouTube. And the villains, she has a henchman that you're going for the first 2 rounds, and then the last round is you going for Carmen Sandiego. And the henchmen's are, I have a feeling, maybe not as bad as Punch-Out, but the step above Punch-Out in terms of
okay.
In terms of the episode I watched had a guy named Vic the Slick who was wearing like a plaid jacket. And he was kind of like a mob Italian guy.
Yeah.
Mobby guy.
Okay.
And anyway, yeah. So they're just like Flash-based. They're very cheap animation. But the episode I watched was charming. So I think we're going to have a lot of fun with this.
Yeah. Carmen Sandiego.
There's a lot more a cappella than you expect.
So is it you like see a piece of a place or a map or something and then you have to figure it out? What are the clues?
So in the first round, and I can only say this because I skimmed that, the first round are just like geography questions. The sort of through line is like, oh, the henchman is supposed to be in a place with these clues. This is the information we got from our leaked telephone call or something. And we know this, everyone's speaking Dutch. We know it's in the Netherlands and we know this other thing. And you have to guess. Then there's like a selection of 3 or 4 options. And you have to guess where you think they are. And then the second round, you've pinned the henchmen down to a specific place. And so you take a train to that place. And there's a board with all these sort of listings of landmarks on the wall. And you sort of pick those and you have to find the loot, the warrant, and then the perp.
Okay.
Perpetrator. In that order. So it's sort of like a game of memory. Like you might find the perpetrator first and you just have to remember, okay, he's at the stockyards in Dallas. So I just have to remember that when I know where the other 2 items are. And then if you do that, then you go to a specific giant floor map of a continent and the host is just reading names of countries to you and you have to take like a marker and pin it where you think that country is.
So this was for fucking nerds. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, yeah. The 3 kids on the episode I briefly watched all seem like I would want to give them swirlies. Like they all seem like easy marks for high school bullies. They all seemed great.
Here comes Chad Xanthopoulos.
Was Jay, who played soccer. But the other one was like, I like to go fishing with my dad and I want to be like an astrophysicist when I grow up. And the other girl was like, wanted to be a broadcast journalist and she'd been taking piano for 9 years. She was like 13 years old. So,
That's cool.
But it was really, I won't talk about it, but that's what we're going to watch.
Okay.
I think you'll find it charming.
Is there like a through line or are we just going to pick a smattering of episodes?
I'm going to pick a smattering of episodes. Okay. I doubt there's any real ranking. It's the same format over and over again.
Yeah.
I think there are different henchmen every episode, so I'm going to try and find a good selection of henchmen.
I love a good hench. I do.
We've talked about henching, tax filing in the past, and I'm sure it'll come up again.
I just found out if you get a bonus as a henchman, that's taxed separately.
Like tips.
Yeah. So you want to, if you're henching for a good villain, they'll like work that into your regular pay, so you're not taxed separately.
Or keep it below $14.99, right? And if it's $1,400 and $14.99, then you don't have to claim it,
under
right?
$1,500. No.
Oh, interesting.
No, I don't know.
And that has been our tax humor corner.
All right, we're gonna watch Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. We'll be back. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you. First of all, I'm gonna give you a little jaunty a cappella music.
No, I knew you were going to ask me to do a bunch of jaunty a cappella shit.
And now name 3 things.
Do I have to continue?
Name 3 things that our patrons can get when they become supporters of the show.
While doing the beat?
No, I'm doing the
you're
music.
doing the beat. And I have to sing it?
Remember, the clues are you've become a patron. You want to know your benefits.
Okay.
And bebop a scattle.
And I got it. Jakarta.
The answer was
Indonesia.
Jakarta. Thank you.
Oh my God. Well, you can see episodes early, and you can have your name read on.
No, you're just a contestant. You don't have to sing. I sing.
Wait, I thought I was. Then why are you doing a beat?
I am both Rockapella and Greg Lee in this scenario. You're the contestant.
And I'm all 3 contestants.
I thought that was a fair split.
You know what I like about this sketch? It was well planned. You know what? That's the only thing I liked about it.
You know what really reduces your anxiety? Planning. I know that for a fact. So
that's actually, it is very much true. But you can, of course, become a patron at You're a Child is an Idiot. No, patreon.com/YourInnerChildIsAnIdiot. But also there's a 301 redirect for YourInnerChildIsAnIdiot.com to just flip to the Patreon. So you can just whatever's easiest to remember, use a mnemonic device, similar to what Alan Pack probably did with the state capitals in round 3 of the Autobahn Con. You can just do that. You know what I mean?
Classic. Do you want to tell them what
you know what I mean?
Do you want to answer the question at all?
What was the question?
What benefits do
I already sang them, and then you got mad because I was singing. You can get episodes early. You can get your name read in the credits. You can get.
Okay, you already said that. I was too busy scatting. I didn't hear it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. See, this is why Rockapella has changed its membership over the past 20 years. As I found out what I was looking up on Spotify. There are several versions of the theme song that you can listen to if you want.
Patreon.com.
Dance remix.
Patreon.com/YourInnerChildIsAnIdiot. That's the low guy.
That's the fun one in Rockapella. No longer a member. Sorry.
It's their Rockapella is the ship of Theseus of bands. They have all their members replaced. Are they still Rockapella? I guess.
But is it still Rockapella at the end?
We are back. We watched Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? Classic WITWICSD. I think everybody knows it by that.
No, she's not it's all one word at the end. It's not like the city in California.
Sandiego.
Sandiego.
I refuse. No, it's 2 words. So
wow. Well, at Ellis Island, it was 2 words, but you know how they are over there.
They mushed it together. We watched a smattering of episodes, mostly based on Damon's detective work, super sleuthing, crawling the internet, microfiche out and flipping.
You know that scene in Silence of the Lambs where Jodie Foster's just got the pen in her mouth and she's just clicking through that microfiche?
Yeah.
That was me. But on the internet, and it only took me a few minutes.
But there was a montage, to be sure, and there was
oh, absolutely
more jaunty,
ever more
music.
Tense soundtrack. Look, it's a game show. I wasn't going to find what the best ranked game shows are. My biggest regret? Well, one I had to remove from the list because the sound and audio, or the image and audio was absolutely terrible, which is saying something because every episode's audio and sound was terrible. But that one was bad. And then by my smattering of 5, I didn't find a single one where Carmen Sandiego was brought to justice by Acme.
I thought maybe it was a thing like that never happened, but no, it happened many times over the course of the show. Mostly so
just not in these 5 episodes.
Just in case you want to go watch these, not necessarily these episodes, but in general, it is challenging to find because they have not officially released them. You can find a smattering of episodes on YouTube and I'm sure other places on the internet, but it's because one of the reasons being it's an educational show and because it's geography based and it's from the early 90s, right before the Soviet Union collapsed, especially. Many of the geography answers are wrong and or at least inaccurate.
I like that that's their biggest concern, that like I can't release these on Netflix. These are wrong answers. I'm like, I don't know if we're all that concerned about.
Can you imagine a world
Yugoslavia?
Can you imagine a world in which we gave a shit about that anymore?
If you're concerned about civics and borders on countries, you're in the wrong America, producers and owners of the licensing rights to Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego.
You're so concerned about accuracy and educational integrity that we refuse to put
I'd hate for disinformation to get out amongst us.
Yeah. Can you imagine being how quaint it is to be that obsessed with accuracy that you refuse to let the inaccurate country of Czechoslovakia exist?
I'm sorry, it's Chechnya now, and I just can't possibly put this misinformation out there.
Sorry, the correct answer is Zaire. You're not even close, Damon.
Well, I don't even know why you thought this was part of that.
So, do you want to, I guess, this is a little bit different. We don't need to recap anything other than, let's talk about the general flow of the show, which does change a bit from episode to episode, and it does change as the show goes on, but it's pretty much the basic gist of it.
It's the same.
Would you like to describe it?
Yeah, I guess I'll give a general recap to the concept of Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego.
I didn't really know, so this might be useful to some other idiots like me.
So it's a game show. You have 3 contestants. They're all tweens. They're all in that sweet spot of age before they get ugly and weird looking. They're still like cute kids without like freaking you out because you're like, oh, you're just probably smell and got deodorant problems. You probably don't know how to shave yet.
No like crustache, no Cheeto crumbs.
No crustache. You know, they probably still smell like Funyuns, but otherwise they're cute kids. And the concept is like we're training them to be detectives for Acme Crime Net, a non-government sponsored detective agency. So is it propaganda? We can discuss that. And Greg Lee is our host, but the premise is that he's training our new recruits. Yeah. And it's kind of like a almost film noirish. It's got like a detective agency vibe. You know, where everyone's wearing fedoras and blazers and everyone's looking happy to be there. Hey, Lauren Bacall could walk in at any moment and teach us how to whistle. And so that's the premise, and it's sort of got like this inner city detective agency look. And each episode has some sort of landmark being stolen, impossibly beyond the realm of physics. These items are stolen. And usually there's a henchman, always there's a henchman, and that's the person who actually stole it under the tutelage of the tutelage of the titular Carmen Sandiego. And so we're hunting down these characters. They're all broad stereotypes, not quite reaching Mike Tyson's Punch-Out levels of racism, but whatever notches, like 3 notches above that, where you can feel pretty comfortable.
They are literally cartoons as well in this.
Yes, they are literally cartoons. And so the premise is that you're sort of chasing after them all over the world, and you're getting clues from various informants and sources. And it's just really a trivia show, but they have these you know, there's the dying informant who comes in and dies on the floor, and his last breaths are giving you the clues, or there's the Roach Motel where the Roach will tell you, or the upstairs neighbor who just wishes you'd quiet down so she gives you clues about an international heist that she just happens to have. And then usually we have to go into the chief's office where she tells us the prize to be won, which is either in early seasons a trip to the contiguous 48 states, or in later seasons a trip anywhere in North America, which is pretty sweet.
That is pretty sweet.
I don't know why. It's not like I need to go to Juneau or Honolulu, but whenever you say like a trip to the lower 48, I'm like, what the fucking ripoff is this? I want all 50 or I'm out. I will let Eartha Brute take, the Washington Monument wherever she pleases, unless I get a chance to go to those last two.
I do like played into that because she's like anywhere in the United States, and then he's like budget, blah 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 blah, and they're like anywhere in the lower 48. I like that.
It's very charming, and then eventually you find the henchman in a very specific spot, and then you take a train to that spot, and then you play a little memory game where there's all these landmarks on a board. And you call out the landmark, it flips over, and there's either nothing there or the three things you want to find, which is the loot, the thing that was stolen, a warrant for the arrest of the henchman, and then the henchman. You have to get it in that order, which is interesting. And then if you succeed at that, then you go to the big map, which is this huge map on the ground or surrounded by the studio audience. And you basically have to identify countries or capitals, and you have to put little, klaxons on these things. And that one it's like you have to get 7 out of 8.
Yeah.
And you have 45 seconds. They don't even give you a cool 60.
I have issues
45 seconds
with this, but let's wait to get to that.
I think they made it easier in later seasons based on that short documentary we both watched. Which a lot of our information, I'll just say it right up at the top. A lot of our information about behind the scenes stuff will come from, there's a YouTube documentary on the TV, on the channel Defunct TV, about the history of Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego.
It was a handy,
which is pretty interesting, and I recommend
about 30 minutes. It was a handy little interesting thing. And
he sounded normal, so I assumed all the information was accurate.
It seemed he had footage. He had footage, and he didn't do like a bunch of meme jokes. Yeah. So I was like, he has to be a journalist of some kind. Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. I want to go through just elements of the show, I guess, especially starting with the first episode. So right out of the gate, I guess, I don't know what I was expecting because I've seen like clips I've generally like.
I can't remember from our introduction, which we recorded 100 years ago. Did you watch this as a kid or no?
Okay. So I didn't know exactly what to expect. I had a general idea. But it was a lot higher energy and a lot faster moving. And I thought it was very appropriately fast moving for like a kids game show that like not only kids are participating in, but also watching. And then you've got Rockapella immediately just singing live and sort of being the comic relief. Like most of the side characters were played.
Yeah, most of the sketches are them.
Yeah, they're like at least one of the guys like being the little baby or whatever. It was it was very madcap and very funny. But I think my favorite was the dying informant, which you mentioned.
The dying informant, I mean, still plays into that noir thing where I feel like other sketches are much more just scattershot.
Just wild.
Like, hey, could you be in drag and just play the upstairs neighbor? And can you also play a baby? And can you wear zombie eyes? At one point, they sing a song, which apparently was a previous hit of Rockapella.
Zombie Jamboree.
Hit seems stressing it, but Zombie Jamboree was one of their songs. The clue was about Haiti, is what I'm getting at. Yeah, Rockapella is a lot more integrated, which I had somewhat forgotten, I guess, but is telling that if I were to stop anyone who had watched this as a kid and said, hey, what do you remember about Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? They'd be fucking singing the theme song. They weren't queers like me and being like, you mean Tony winning Lynn Thigpen? Like, no, that's not, no.
I was incorrect because I always thought it was Hit It Rockapella. I didn't watch the show, so I'll give it's Do It Rockapella.
Correct.
And then they hit the theme song at the end, which is a great way to end. Mm-hmm. Like all the kids are like around dancing. And
it is funny. Charming when the kids come out dancing around Rockapella. I'll say this. I mean, Greg Lee is apparently he started as a guy. He was like a contestant wrangler or whatever you call him on Double Dare. Like he helped, acclimate the families and kids to being on TV. And I think he does well here.
Yeah.
He always feels comfortable around the kids, probably because of that background. He seems to be also having a lot of fun. I think that's another infectious element, is that everyone seems to be having the time of their life, with the exception, of course, I think of Lynn Thigpen, who's always in her office because I think all of her segments are pre-recorded.
Right. Which, good for her.
But good for her. She didn't want to do the show.
Yeah.
She didn't want to do the show. And they begged her to do it. They were really hunting her down, according again to Defunct TV. And, because she didn't like the pacing of that. She would have to record 65 episodes in 6 weeks. But I think she also realized, like, oh, this is a pretty sweet deal, and everyone's watching it, and people know who I am, so maybe I'll do Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego.
Yeah.
After this.
And then Where in North Dakota is Carmen Sandiego. the Defunct TV YouTube video drops that and then just moves on. I'm like, I need so much more information.
That was a specific computer game. Like, did they have ties to North Dakota that they wanted to exploit? Or were they planning to do 49 more of these? And why start with North Dakota?
So, yeah, and then the first episode has the Lou. Vic the Slick is he's a very stereotypical, like, gangster. Yeah, boss. He
wears plaid suits. He's got pinky. He's described as he loves pinky rings.
Yeah, he steals the Mona Lisa, the talking Mona Lisa,
sentient Mona Lisa,
which was pretty funny.
Take that, Dan Brown.
Yeah,
she could have just told us who did it. She could have just told us who the
whole
the Holy
time.
Grail. It was Mary Magdalene the whole time. She could have said,
"Hey, it's a Mary Magdalene." She's got a very she was
very
stereotypical Italian. We also get the children actually don't get, other than being contestants, they're not the featured entertainment, which I appreciate because it's not a lot of pressure on like entertainer children. You know what I mean? They get a little introduction and they get to answer, and then they get to say like one segment where he asks them like one fact about themselves. My favorite was the first one, where the one guy's like, "I like to fish with my dad. He has a boat."
It was very talking to kids to me.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that seems accurate. Every time I see my second cousins, I'm like,
okay,
well, what do you do? And they're like, I like baseball. And because there was one time the baseball was like coming at me, and I like took the bat and I hit the baseball, and then the baseball really, really far. And then I like ran around the bases, and then I got home, and then I scored a point. And I'm like, I'm going to talk to another cousin.
I would like to leave
I have no more information to add to your baseball.
And he comes to the sociopath where he goes, "I want to be a lawyer." And he's like, "Why do you want to be a lawyer?" And he says, "I like to put people in jail. Just people.
Jesus.
Not criminals, just people."
Anyone I can find, honestly.
He is actually a young Rudy Giuliani.
I like to put people in jail, and I also like to possibly go to jail myself. I'd like to be disbarred in the most humiliating way possible. Thank you.
I'd like to point out that this first episode taught me that it was the first one that made me go like, oh, I, a 42-year-old man, am better at this than these children. Because I got all the answers right, and they got all of the answers wrong pretty much.
Kids are stupid. Yeah, it is like watching the teen tournament on Jeopardy. You're like, wow, am I a fucking genius? Oh, wait, this is just a watered-down version of the show.
I kind of like that. Unlike Jeopardy or even Kids Jeopardy, I assume, like, it doesn't seem like there was any sort of need for skill or knowledge. That they were sort of more just cast. Like, oh, you look like you'll do a good job. Can you talk on camera? And they're like, no. And they're like, okay, come on.
Perfect. Great. Get
which
in
I
here.
like. I like the idea that just normal kids could do it. You know, it's like, hey, you're here in Pittsburgh or New York. Come on, let's do it. But my favorite example of this is the second episode we watched, which was, we can go back to more of the first episode, but the SAT score scam.
Yeah, Patty Larceny steals the SAT scores.
I don't remember what the other two kids' names were, but the third kid was named Vincent, and he like clearly actually knew some things. And I feel like this episode was a really good lesson in how life isn't a meritocracy for Vincent. And
I'm glad you brought this up, because this struck me as well.
I hope that he didn't become some sort of serial killer as vengeance for this, because I could see his heart breaking on TV, because he was like, I knew all the answers. I thought this was a knowledge base. He didn't throw a fit. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything wrong. And the other kids didn't do anything wrong either. They would just got everything wrong. He got pretty much everything right. And then they go to the memory game, which has nothing to do with anything.
All luck. Absolutely all luck.
And it wasn't even like they got a bunch of them, then they could use memory. Like, it was pretty much luck. Like, and then Vincent doesn't get to go to the final. And it was like, wow, it was like the episode of The Simpsons where you're like, if you rewind, you can see the actual moment his heart breaks.
The moment his heart breaks. Yeah, that one I wrote down. I wrote down two things about the contestants on this one, which is more than I wrote on any other episodes. I said, Vincent is doing the right answer strategy. Because all the other two kids, I don't know who was copying who, but every single one of their answers in the first round were exactly the same. They were both the wrong answer.
Every time.
Both of them all the time. And then Vincent was like, Sudan. And Greg Lee's like, and it was the Sudan. It was every time. And then when Kit won the second round, Kit, who looks like a young Kevin Bacon, I wrote down in all caps, Kit, ? Are you fucking kidding me? ? I was so mad for Vincent. He should be a serial killer. If anyone has a right to kill random people at will and steal parts of their bodies for trophies in his home, it's Vincent for this humiliation on public television.
Paid for by viewers like you. This was neither the first nor the last time in our watching that I felt a great sense of injustice. And I just want to hit on it, even though it's later in the show. I do want to talk about how they end the show with the putting the siren poles on pieces of the map. So before they go into this segment, they show a map of, Africa or South America or the United States, whatever they're going to highlight. And they say whatever 8 places they're going to highlight. So there's only 8 to choose from, and they do show you on the map. And I assume they're showing that.
Yeah, Lynn Thigpen runs down any of the countries that you might be asked about during this segment.
I assume they're doing that for the children as well, for the contestant. I guess I don't know.
God,
for sure.
I hope so.
But so they get to this giant map. All the kids are the viewers are around. And they give them 45 seconds to find it. And they give them 2 tries each. And none of the 5 episodes that we watched does a kid get it. There were 2 that got it, but did not get credit for it because...
Wait, was there a second one?
Yes, there was one. There was, I think it was the last one too, where they were like, they got it, but they didn't get exactly on the dot or something. And so they're like, sorry.
Okay, well, let's talk about Ali, who we both had visceral reactions to.
It's Ali, right? I know they called him Ali.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I mean, like, his name is Ali. I guess you could say it. You could pronounce it Ali if you want.
I imagine they asked the kids because
I hope so.
There were some Greek names in the last episode, and I was really proud that they nailed them. So I felt like they asked them. So maybe he's just like, yeah, call me Ali.
That could be.
Because he's a big fan of the 80s sitcom Kate and Ali.
It could be.
Go on.
I wrote in all caps, this is bullshit. Ali was robbed.
So he was absolutely the closest because he did not miss a single one. He was in the United States, which is, I imagine, what you're hoping to get.
Please, don't give me...
Yeah, I can find Spokane on this fucking map as long as I can run to it. First off, Ali, to his credit, in the second round, gets all 3 just by an astonishing coincidence, gets the loot, the warrant, and the crook in that order in his first guess.
That was great.
Which is something, because that segment, we can return to it, drags a little bit if that doesn't happen. And then he gets, does he miss a single one?
I don't think so.
So whenever they do the United States, you have to land specifically on a city. At least in the episodes we watched.
And there was a dot
do this in other
there.
places.
Right,
there's a dot because they're doing this actual cities in the US. Whereas on other continents, they seem to just be like, if you can find Sudan on this map,
good on you.
God love you. And Ali did a great job, and he, according to the judges, missed the city in Mississippi by
that was
a nanosecond.
Fucking bullshit. And
it was bullshit.
The other thing that's bullshit is you have to wait for fucking Greg to read it, and he's like he's doing a normal job, but it's like, Greg, we have 45 fucking seconds. I'm gonna need you to hurry up, bud. Hey, bud. If you could hurry it up a little bit, Mr. Lee, please. Thank you, Greg. Thank you.
This wouldn't be happening if Steve Harvey was in charge. If Steve Harvey was in charge, this wouldn't have happened. Because that clock would not start until he finished the first city, at least. It seems like it's a little too all over the place, because also the other thing that bothered me wasn't so much Greg, but the fact that you would put the klaxon on wherever, and you're kind of like,
have to wait. Yeah.
Did I get it? And there's some poor fucking intern in the box going and hitting the button for the klaxon to go
correct?
on.
I don't know.
Is that, I can't. It seems like there's a siren going off, which seems like it would be the wrong answer, but it's the wrong answer. So I feel like there's a lot that is out of the contestants' hands for such a tightly timed 45 seconds seems like bullshit to me, especially when the girl got Asia, which stretches, according to their map, from the Middle East all the way to Indonesia. Like this whole stretch, like that was the one time where Greg Lee's like, let me break this up for you. Let me just stop you and just tell you the parts of Asia so that we all know what we're doing here. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. And I was hoping that he was about to say 60 seconds on the clock since it's such a huge fucking continent. Nope. 45 seconds. Figure it out, little girl.
I don't know if it's important to tell our listeners and our viewers, but I did contract COVID sometime between the intro recording and this recording. So I am isolated. I am not, if you can't tell, we are not in the same room, even though
you're ivermectined up. You don't have any horseworms. Everything's going to be fine.
They call me the hydrochloroquine.
Oh, what a fun time in America's history.
It's going great.
When we had someone steady hands on the wheel.
I made it 4 years stuck in this stupid disease. Anyway, so that was
so then the
bullshit.
Last kid you say also got robbed?
I don't remember if it was the last kid. Let's see. Yeah, it was the Audubon Khan that we watched, and he was running just like
that kid was.
He was zipping,
it.
and
yes.
I said, Michael, this is bullshit at the end, because I think it was another. It was. They should have given it to him. These are children.
Well, he had missed a few.
Well, he got it wrong, but he still was on the last one.
Allie was like on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they should have just given him the last one because he wasn't going to win anyway, because he has to get 7 out of 8.
Well, and Allie knew the answers more than this kid was faster. So gonna give him that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was disappointed that he didn't know where Frankfurt, Kentucky is. Like, come on. It's the piece of chicken in the Tennessee frying pan.
Come on, guys.
Like, fucking figure it out. Held by the chef who's wearing a chef hat that looks like Minnesota. This is fucking geography.
Basic United States 101? I don't know.
This is United States 101. How to put together. Thank you for purchasing United States. Here is how to assemble all 50 parts of your United States.
I want to talk about they must have done this more often, but we saw Walter Cronkite and we saw Branford Marsalis were like special guests. Walter Cronkite did a decent job. He was kind of pretending to be a news.
He just had to read the news, which is his.
Branford Marsalis
was
a musician acting, which I love. And it was also like,
you love
wow, Branford Marsalis. I can just imagine a bunch of 11-year-olds being like, he's my favorite jazz saxophonist of contemporary note. Like, what? It's the PBS's thing that what happened on this very PBS show.
And he was very much giving it his all. E for effort, but F for the actual game. I was like, you've read a sentence though, correct? You've seen sentences like subjects, predicates, talking to another person. No, you understand that, correct? Okay. Branford Marsalis, now, he didn't play with Jay Leno's band, right? Was that Wynton Marsalis?
No, it was Branford. He was the leader of the Tonight Show band for
the original one. Is he related to Wynton Marsalis?
Yes, they're brothers. Yes.
Marsalis brothers.
Marsalis brothers.
Now, Chicken Marsala, how does that fit into
that is their sister.
I like her. I like it better when it's with angel hair pasta and not so much with mashed potatoes, but hey, I'm not an expert. And I don't know jazz as much as the Marsalis triplets.
And their cousin, Tikka Masala.
She wanted this accent, like Colbert.
Yeah.
She decided to, I want to put a little accent on my last name.
What did you think of the Woody Allen reference in that's the Gateway Getaway was the one we watched.
There is, yes, he's it's an oyster, is that correct? So. And it's giving a clue, as you'd expect. And it's sort of talking like it very much, I mean, a lot of the voice work is like pick a celebrity that we all can do and do that. So someone's doing Woody Allen. Later with with Double Trouble, who are these twins who steal things, they're just doing straight up Jack Nicholson, not even varying the voices between the two twins. So I guess they speak with one voice.
They could have done.
Tyler was very impressed because, Tyler prides himself on his fantastic Jack Nicholson. Have I talked about this on the show?
I don't think so.
So when we watched A Few Good Men for this very show, not this episode, but the concept of
it. You can't tell, but I'm doing the Jack Nicholson face right now.
You look great. He started doing a Jack Nicholson impression, doing the wall speech from A Few Good Men.
You want me on that wall? You need me on that wall.
Exactly. Now you're doing a different tack than what Tyler does. Tyler likes to, he says it like this. You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
So he does Kenneth from 30 Rock as Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, as Jack Nicholson, as a Southern general in the Civil War.
Excellent.
That is correct.
That's very good. We might have talked about that.
Stonewall Jackson, I imagine. That's the wall in question.
Woody Allen is just hard not to be like, ooh, now, but it was pretty funny otherwise. I liked it. Just like a little oyster being like, over here, and if they come here, and he's like giving clues while he's talking. I liked it. It was very nice.
In their defense, this would have been 1991. And I don't think the Woody Allen stuff broke until 1992 or 3.
Okay, great. And we didn't care until never.
Until
society.
Surprisingly recently.
There's also the mention of Yugoslavia happens in this episode, which I very much enjoyed.
What was that?
Well, it was one of the clues was they were talking about Yugoslavia and they like had it on the map, which I was like, oh yeah, that country doesn't exist anymore. That's fun.
We're breaking shit up left and right. They probably picked the worst time in recent history to start a geography-based game show, because even in later seasons, they had to have Lynn Thigpen record a sort of disclaimer at the end of each episode saying, the information in this show was accurate as of the day we recorded it, basically. I mean, on Defunct TV, they talked about in some cases, having to change the European maps the day before filming was going to happen. Like, can you fucking imagine?
Yeah, if they had started in the mid-90s, they would have been pretty good. They would have had to make a couple of corrections.
Be more in the clear. Yeah.
Oh, we have to add South Sudan, but otherwise we're pretty good. I also like I think there was that episode. I can't remember, but there was that episode and maybe one other where they were pretty Africa-centric, at least a lot of it. And they mentioned in the Defunct TV show that they were talking about how important it was for them to have a not just completely Eurocentric or or US-centric geography show. They wanted to be like, this is the whole world and we're going to include all of it. They wanted to have diverse casting and stuff, which is very cool, very PBS of them. I just feel like we talked about this in the Sesame Street episode 2, or not the Follow That Bird episode, where it's just like they were. I was
like, so when did we do Sesame Street?
Sorry, but PBS has always
we have to watch the entirety of Sesame Street.
PBS has always been like on the forefront of that in a way that's like really cool, because you're like, oh yeah, they were doing this shit when I was actually a kid, and then it's taken the world this long to kind of almost catch up, kind of,
and even then fighting it tooth and nail. Don't forget that Mississippi didn't want to air episodes of Sesame Street in the 60s and 70s because of the diverse cast.
Well, and you can't even say
never forget.
You can't even say Yugoslavia anymore because of woke.
Oh, people are so offended now. I can't even use the incorrect names of countries that broke up 30 years ago. I also wanted to say I had a visceral memory during the second episode we watched, the SAT score scam, because Patty Larceny was my white whale when I watched this as a kid. Because she would show up in the credits. In the credits, the cartoon characters steal the credits at the end. And I knew Top Grunge. I knew Double Trouble. I knew Eartha Brute. But there was always this blonde girl who showed up, and I was like, who the fuck is that? I would never see Patty Larceny episodes, and it drove me insane that I was never seeing Patty Larceny episodes. Because I watch this almost every day, if I remember correctly. And I was not seeing Patty Larceny ever. And then I finally saw her, and I was supremely disappointed that she's just sort of she's not even a Valley girl. She's just sort of like pretty girl.
Just a little.
She kind of looks like Betty Boop if she was wearing like a shake and go wig.
Just a little thief. Just stealing stuff.
Just a little thief with a punny name.
What does she steal? She steals...
She stole the SAT scores.
That's right. Which is not as fun as the other.
And she didn't want to wear a thong. She didn't want to wear a thong in Brazil.
Good for her.
You know, that's her right. Justice for Patty Larceny of course, the Connecticut Larceny family. What happened to the Twin Towers in New York City?
Oh my God. Yeah, so
I specifically chose this episode for you.
Yeah, so we watched The Taking of the Towers. And I just wrote Twin Towers. Yikes. Who is the thief in this one? The Double Trouble.
This is Double Trouble
steals.
Double Trouble
steals the Twin Towers, the World Trade Center towers.
So weird to see the skyline without them, right?
Yeah. Obviously, this was 1992. They didn't do anything wrong.
Even before the bombing, the failed bombing.
This was probably my favorite episode for several reasons. Not because of that. That's just sort of sad. But
yeah, a sad reminder of a horrible tragedy.
I like Double Trouble. I like the idea of Double Trouble, and I like the bad Jack Nicholson voice. I liked that. This is another. I mean, this wasn't the only example. I like them stealing stuff that's ridiculous. I guess Robo Crook in the last episode took the St. Louis Arch, also ridiculous.
Yes,
he take two giant skyscrapers.
And it made me wonder, like, how big is Robo Crook? Because it showed him like doing like somersaults around it. I'm like, he's just huge. Taking how did we miss him?
Under his arm. I love that. They mentioned Key West having cannibals, which didn't know that. What are we talking about?
News to me.
What are we talking about?
It was actually Ernest Hemingway.
We had the dying informant again, which I liked.
Yes.
Probably my favorite segment.
The grand return.
They had a talking skyscraper. I think his name was John.
John Hancock.
He was the Hancock building.
Yeah.
And I really like that because he's giving them clues. Skyscraper scuttlebutt. I really like that. And then during the memory segment where they had to like do the cards, they were really struggling. The kids were really struggling to find the right ones, but they kept finding the World Trade. They kept finding the loot, but they couldn't get the warrant or the crook. So they had to go, and the Rockapella sings every time they get one of the things right. So they go, the warrant, or whatever. I can't remember what they say when they find the crook, but they really tall buildings when they got the Twin Towers, and they kept changing it so they could be incredibly huge buildings. And that was...
Yeah, because you have to get the loot first, and because they found the loot so early, the kids, of course, chose the loot
every time.
The place with the loot over and over and over again. So they had to keep just
really, really tall buildings. That was great. It was fantastic. And then I just put Kamali ! So I don't know what I was saying there.
She was the girl who made it to the third round. She put Double Trouble in jail. And then she was the girl who had to do fucking Asia.
Oh, yeah. I think maybe that was the other one that I said was bullshit. I can't remember. I think they were all kind of bullshit. I was just like...
It seems too strict a thing.
Yeah. And they don't...
For what they're asking you to do. Like, give me a leeway of like... I mean, the idea that I have 8 things I have to place and I need to get 7 right in 45 seconds just seems like an insurmountable thing to do.
And
most of the ones we saw, I don't even know if Greg got through 8 clues.
And, the prize, if they don't get it, is not that great. They're like
a CD player, a handheld CD player.
And a trip to any, even,
and world CDs.
Even in the lower 48, a trip to anywhere in the lower 48 is pretty good. Although... in the video, in the defunct TV video we watched, they were talking about somebody who won, and he picked Arizona. I was like, Arizona? I mean, I guess you go to Grand Canyon.
I also imagine, like, you're like, oh, well, my family lives in Arizona. Right. Yeah, I guess you could go to the Grand Canyon. I think he showed another clip where he went to Florida. I'm like, yeah, that seems like a kid place to go.
The last one we watched was the Autobahn Con and Top Grunge.
Whoa. Wait, I'm sorry. Where would you go? Where would you choose in the lower 48 to go?
Am I a kid in this scenario? Am I 12 years old?
Ooh, yes.
So I hadn't been really, I think like one time I went to the West Coast when to visit my aunt, uncle, and cousin when I was little. But generally speaking, all of our trips were like Florida, East Coast, or not East Coast, but like to the east of the Mississippi. So I probably would have picked like California or something just to like go west.
To put your toes in the Pacific Ocean. Finally.
Where would you have
feel
picked?
That Lewis and Clark moment. Oh, New York, obviously. Well, one, cold weather. Love it.
You love it.
And
you know what?
I mean, what am I?
You know what you should do?
Am I going into West Virginia? Get out.
You should wear like a button-up shirt, like a collared shirt, and then maybe a sweater over top of it.
You know, I think that's going to be my thing. That's going to be my little uniform.
Little Damon.
It's just it's an evergreen look. Also, if you want to be mistaken for, a civics teacher, it's an evergreen look as well. I have spent... As if civics teachers exist anymore.
Most of my life, at least slightly, if not more, chubby. And so the multi-layer thing, I don't care for it.
Oh, I see. You want one thing?
I just don't want to be hot all the time.
Oh.
Top grunge.
Well, what are you going to do?
Top grunge.
Top grunge.
Which is a weird, that's probably my least, I think the worst name. Because
is it a play on Top Gun?
I don't know.
He's dirty.
He's dirty.
That's his thing, is he's a biker and he's filthy. At one point, Carmen Sandiego, in the leaked audio from their telephone call, calls him asphalt breath.
Wow.
Cruel. She is creating a toxic work environment. She is the Miranda Priestley of evil criminal syndicates, stealing giant landmarks. To what end? You can't resell them.
I'm always surprised at like the sort of two-dimensional villains when they're always like, "You idiot, you dolt," and I'm like, you got to be nicer to your employees, or they're gonna.
Right. Well, they do all betray her when they get caught.
Yes.
Let's not forget that they always after
flip.
they get caught during the memory card sequence, they always call the new recruit and say, "Hey, I'm gonna be lonely. He's in jail, so why don't you look for Carmen in Africa?" that was my Vic the Slick.
They always do the bottom up roll up. That's how it's done.
That's classic Rico investigations.
Gotta say, the bit in the Autobahn Con where he goes and talks to the Roach Hotel and talks to a Roach named Kafka is pretty good.
Pretty solid. Also, the audience didn't seem to like it, but because he has to get on the ground and sit next to this sort of model of a hotel. And then he gets up and goes back to where he usually stands. And he does like a whole full body shiver. And I thought that was very funny, but the audience of 12-year-olds didn't get it. But I was like, you'll get used to being more grossed out by things as you get older, and you'll get it. You'll get it then when you're watching a very blurry version of this on YouTube.
Just wait. In 30 or 40 years, you're going to think that's kind of mildly funny. Just wait.
You're going to think that Greg Lee hung the moon after you see him do that.
Yeah, let's go through. So I think Greg does a good job. He's charming. He's pretty funny. He doesn't like treat the kids like too kiddish. You know what I mean? Like he treats them like he's nice to them. And he asks them questions, but he's not like, "Oh, that's too bad." He's like, "Nope, wrong." Like, and moves on, which
judges, did he get it?
He didn't. Thanks for, I mean, he's like, "Good job anyway. Here is what you get." Like, I kind of appreciate that. I feel like that was pretty cool. I thought he was, I remember in an interview they gave, they're like, "Oh, I thought Greg Lee was impossibly cool." And it's like, I kind of get that. I thought he was a pretty good host. What do you think?
No, I thought he was great. I agree that, I think I said earlier, like he does have a good interaction with the kids. He's not too cloying with them or sort of standoffish with them. He does seem like cool in a way that I don't know if young Damon even would have thought he was. I would have just been like, well, I couldn't possibly Well, I don't know if you pronounced Marrakesh correctly, but otherwise, that is one thing. He is no Alex Trebek. There are a few moments where I'm like, that is not how that country is pronounced, sir. And sometimes the kids would say it wrong and he'd correct, or sometimes the kids would say it right and he would correct them to the wrong thing. He'd pull a Dan Quayle and correct a right answer's pronunciation. Luckily, it didn't matter on that stuff, but it did seem like, can we just go over, at least in the answers you're going to have to be giving for this episode, could you at least go over how this is supposed to be pronounced? But no, overall, I thought he was great. I've already stated my love for Lynn Thigpen. I think she does a good job. She mostly has sort of dad jokes that she has to do. And some of the premises of her skits are, to borrow a phrase from the Roach Motel, Kafka-esque almost. There's a moment where she's like, we really need to be looking for Carmen Sandiego as hard as we can. So she had doubled her faces and they had sort of used a split screen so that she looked like she had two faces on both sides of her head. It was weird. I saw a brief clip in the Defunct TV documentary where her head was completely severed from her body and Greg had to replace it on her head. It's all very weird. Her thing is like just being like gruff, like kind of like the chief in a
cop movie,
in
or
like
something.
a 70s cop show where it's like, get out of here. I want your gun and your badge on my desk by the morning. She was always, she would call Greg into her office in the middle section where she would state what the prize always is.
Yeah.
And then she's like, Greg, go away. And then he had to leave.
She also had
but I thought she brought a certain, even though I don't know who she is, aside from, I didn't know who she was, starting the show as a kid.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to see all the great episodes of Law and Order where she plays the defense attorney. But she brought like a certain level of gravitas, I felt like, to the show, which, at least to my, 12-year-old brain.
Yeah, it was good.
But I like it.
It was a good, obviously plenty of nonsense, but no nonsense in the course of the show. My favorite bit.
No nonsense yet. So
a lot of nonsense. My favorite was in the first episode that we watched. In the first episode, she says, she mentions, they're talking about Da Vinci because they're talking about the Mona Lisa, and she mentions Raphael, Donatello, and Michelangelo, and she says, their recent decision to become Ninja Turtles was controversial, but otherwise, they're like, I thought that was very funny.
Kids love that sort of stuff.
It was a good bit. What else? Yeah, we already talked about the other bits. Rockapella, generally not the biggest fan of acapella groups, but they did a great job. They sound great.
They do sound great.
It's cheesy, but it's the perfect amount of cheesy, I feel like, for what it is. Yeah.
I think they're interjections of little, I mean, they're singing throughout the whole fucking thing. Me and Tyler have been singing, how much you gonna risk? Yeah. And then later when the kids fucking write where they want to go, where they write Arizona on a notepad, where are you gonna go? Yeah. I mean, it's charming as fuck, as cheesy as it is. I feel like it brings this sort of cohesiveness to the whole endeavor where, they're sitting out there like fucking newsies in the alleyway, but they're sort of permeate the entire proceedings in a way that I think brings it all together.
Did you watch any of the other things? Because there was Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego, which if you had said that to me in the intro, I'd have been like, what are you talking about?
Was that a game only, or was that also a game show?
If you had said that to me in the intro, I'd have been like, what are you talking about? But they showed on the Defunct TV, they showed it was a cartoon that had the two kids like following Carmen Sandiego around. I was like, I definitely remember that. I definitely watched some.
That was on Saturdays, and I watched a handful of episodes, but I think again, portraying me as little gay kid, I was like, oh, I don't like the chief's not Lynn Thigpen, so I don't want to watch anything without the grand dame of Carmen Sandiego.
Did you watch the Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego? That seemed bonkers as hell.
Yeah, that one I didn't watch. I think I had aged up a little bit by the time that one started airing. And I watched a little bit of it for this because I was just curious. And I think a lot of the charm is gone. And that's, I think, why I do give a lot of credit to Rockapella in that one is much more science fiction-y in its
seemed wild
setup because it's a time travel premise. Also, the cartoons of the criminals are replaced with actors doing live action stuff over green screen, but acting just as cartoonishly as the cartoons. which hard pass. Because it's very regional. It's very regional theater. It's very over the top. And it's just as clunky as the cartoon animations are.
They're pretty charming.
I'd rather take that than the live action people in terrible costumes, obviously like sort of quickly done, being really like playing to the nosebleed sections and like, no, thank you. Also, they have, again, a house band, but the song is not nearly as catchy as Rockapella's. No, absolutely
not.
I
liked it, and I didn't realize this because having never played the game either, but they showed some of that in the documentary, and they borrowed a lot from the game for the cartoons, the 2D like animation and like a lot of the characters and stuff. I thought that was pretty cool.
And also it looked like they showed a clip in the documentary of Lynn Thigpen in a computer game. So, I mean, she kept letting those checks roll in.
Good for you, Lynn.
And I want her to. I have nothing else to say except for one very specific reference that I overlooked, which was in the last episode. They talked to a moose informant. I believe it was the head of the antler division at Acme Crime Net. And the moose talks like Ed Wynn from Alice in Wonderland, talking like this. And it always makes me, one, I like Ed Wynn impressions. And two, it always reminds me, do you remember when Wreck-It Ralph came out? There was an article in one of the gay magazines where a guy was like angry that Alan Tudyk's King of Candy was a homophobic portrayal. And I remember as a gay, but also apparently older than this person who wrote it, I was like, he's doing a fucking Ed Wynn impression, you idiot. A heterosexual man by all accounts, by the way. So fuck off. I just want to say, Michelangelo Signorelli, you were wrong. I don't even know if you wrote that article, but I'm still mad about it.
You wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, would you? Oh, you hit a guy with glasses. Very good. I like that bit in that movie. Would you like to go to the verdict, my friend?
Yes, I would.
Let's go. Going to the verdict. Boom, 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 boom. Going to the verdict. Boom, 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 boom. Going to the verdict.
This is correct. And then some.
You can use that instead of the normal theme song editor. Thank you. It was so
flawless. Please
good.
Use that.
Damon, what is your verdict?
Your inner child is not an idiot. It can be cheesy, but it's charming as hell. And for like a 28-minute game show aimed at kids, it's fun. I think it helps that it's very fast paced.
Yeah.
It never stays on anything too long. And even if you find something cheesy or a premise cheesy, it's onto a new thing like 2 minutes later. So, bring on the gritty reboot with Christian Bale as Greg Lee and, I don't know, Angela Bassett as the chief, where they give the kids guns and they have to shoot down Carmen Sandiego. I don't know. But I think this was a lot of fun. I mean, I don't know what else to say for a game show, but it seems well made and everyone was having fun and I was charmed by it.
This doesn't fit our like normal thing, but do you have any nominees for Catherine O'Hara?
Oh, right. Well, I mean, I'm going to give, you know what? I feel like the obvious answer is Lynn Thigpen for the Catherine O'Hara, but I feel like I have to give it to Rockapella.
Ooh.
I feel like they are the secret glue that's holding this whole thing together. Yeah. And I think they gave the show a very specific personality.
I agree with that.
As much as I'm loath to give an award to any organization that has a white guy with beaded dreads in the back of his a beaded dread mullet, no less.
He does get it cut off in the last episode, apparently.
He does get it cut off. They finally got my letters, it seems.
How about?
So yeah, I would have to give it to Rockapella for the Catherine O'Hara. I don't know if you can really give.
I feel like, can I do Dying Informant for the Sally Field memorial?
Oh yeah, let's do Sally. I should be writing these down. DJ, while I'm writing these down, what did you think of Where in the World is?
Well, this is where I'm probably going to make a lot of people mad because no, this was great. Your inner child's not an idiot. This was a lot more. I expected this to be more boring than it was. Like, I wouldn't necessarily.
It's a game show about geography.
I wouldn't necessarily binge it as I did for this episode of our podcast, but I did enjoy it very much. It was very fast paced. It was very charming. It was silly. I would have. I think maybe I don't know why I didn't watch this. I was just like maybe a little bit too old by the time I was like watching. I don't know because it's right.
I am older than you, and I was watching it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean like I was too mature. I just maybe I was like into other things by this time. Maybe I was like, if it's not comic books, I don't care.
Smoking weed, yeah.
I was like, just having sex in my bedroom.
Yeah, drag racing, smoking cigarettes, hanging out with Olivia Newton-John.
Soaking.
I imagine
I was
all
probably
those
soaking
things.
by this age.
Soaking?
Do I know something that you don't?
What's soaking?
Oh my God.
Is it a 50s thing?
No, it's a Mormon thing.
Oh no, actually, I think someone taught me about soaking.
Please cut all this out because this is completely irrelevant.
No, keep all of this in. It's completely relevant. What is soaking?
Soaking is when you just put it in and you leave it there. You don't move because that's what God's upset about is the moving.
A naked dick in a naked vagina?
And I can't remember what the term for it is, but you could also have a friend jump on the bed, and because they're the ones causing the motion, it's okay.
I have to bring in a third person who I have a platonic relationship with to jump on the bed to create enough friction for me to...
You know what I think? I think soaking has never actually happened.
It does feel like, like a Dirty Sanchez or something where it's just made up by some like weirdo freak teenager.
I feel like we've had this.
And I'm like, this isn't real.
We've had this exact same conversation on mic before. I feel like we have.
This does feel very last episode of Seinfeld where it's like, we've had this conversation before. Actually, a friend of mine sent me like a video on Instagram where a guy was making fun of Mormons and referenced soaking. And I had to have this little conversation with him, like, what the fuck is soaking? And he's like, oh. And I was like, I am always amazed by the lengths people will go to technically not have sex as teenagers. And I'm like, how stupid do you think God is? He's like, well, I mean, he did have his penis inside her vagina for the purpose of sexual gratification, but they weren't moving, so I guess I have to let them into heaven.
Ah, you got me.
It's kind of like the Orthodox Jews who are like, well, I have this whole mechanism to get my oven to work on the Sabbath because God's a moron and is easily tricked.
This exact same conversation.
We have
2 weeks ago.
In a cycle.
Yeah. What do you think, everybody? Your inner child's an idiot at gmail.com. Let us know what you think. 615-576-0525. You can text us or leave us a voicemail. We want to thank our current patrons, including Little Miss Chicken Nugget.
Just cuz.
Lindsay Halik.
Jody Passanisi.
Josh Frigo.
Shit on the Cartouche.
Karen Curd.
Jonathan Day.
Larissa Maestro.
I can't with this. Heather Tuggle.
Beth Surmont.
David Mort.
Caroline Amberson.
Lindsay Nell.
The Elusive and Gromkin.
Hizoner the Mayor.
Travis Vance.
Bill Haynes.
D. Smith.
Dramatically placed hot dog.
The Zesty.
The supreme ruler of this podcast.
Jeremy Powlen.
Jackson has an unhealthy obsession with Damon.
Oh no, Damon's Australian accent.
Particle Man.
Dr. Malcolm's Heaving Bosom.
The Hands of Fate.
Tommy Boy is Damon's very favorite movie.
Zachary Hartley.
Captain Jean-Luc Picard, make it so.
In jail.
Thank you all very much for supporting the show. If you want to support like them, patreon.com/yourinnerchild'sanidiot. Now, Damon is...
Just think, if you were a patron, you could have your name sung like that to you via us.
Also, just like Rockapella, 0 harmonies and not in tune at all, with no discernible melody.
And no planning or, rehearsals.
I love this scenario where you think we're having multiple rehearsals.
This is our this episode felt like we did several rehearsals and that I sat around for a long time trying to get everything in line.
It's true.
Sorry, go ahead, Deej.
Well, I was just going to say, while the credits roll, if you could just go ahead and list all the countries in the world in alphabetical order and their capitals. Thanks.
I think Yakko Warner actually prepared me for this.
Albania.
I want to say Algeria. No, Albania.
Yeah.
Algeria. Andorra?
And we're out. Thank you. Good job.
Well, I'll just assume he got the rest of them correct.